Okay guys, today I'm going to show you from start to finish how to glitter a tumbler. This is a tall brand from Walmart, 22 ounce. We're gonna do from start to finish. Okay, first what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to want to sand it so that it can roughen it up and give it something for the paint and epoxy to adhere to. Just a good once over will do, so you can see all the scratches on it. And then rinse it off. Get it nice and dry. And then once you've done that, you want to take your PVC pipe with your football, stick it on there, just like that, and then now you're ready to go and spray paint it. Now you're ready for spray paint, and I'm going to be painting mine white first. Just a quick, small, thin coat is just fine. And I use this Rust-Oleum Gloss White. And then the glitter that I'm going to be using is white and teal. So for the teal, I'm going to be using Satin Sea Glass by Krylon. Now when you're doing an ombre look, you want to do it in small bursts so that you can control it a little better. You don't want runs, because if you have runs, you will be able to see them under your glitter. So once you get your cup all painted the color that you want, what I like to do is take mine inside and put it on my turner to spin and dry, because I feel like it helps prevent runs. And I let it dry for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Okay guys, so once your cup is completely dry, then you're ready to glitter. And we're gonna be doing the epoxy method. So you need very little epoxy to do this. We'll use like a total of 5 milliliters, if not less than that. And you just put it on here just as if you were doing any other layer of epoxy. You just want it to be nice and thin. And once you get your entire cup coated with the epoxy, I usually like to hit it with my heat gun just to get it a little thin, and then let it spin for a few minutes so that it can even out, so that your glitter will be even. And then once you do that, you are ready to glitter. So I'm gonna do my white first and then my teal. And I like to go all the way to the rim, and then I also do the bottoms of my cup. But you don't have to do that. You can tape it off, and then you will see the stainless steel at the top and the bottom. And that's fine too. It's whatever you prefer. And you just keep adding glitter until you don't see where it looks wet, because the epoxy will soak up the glitter. So if it still looks wet, that means you need more glitter, because if you let it dry that way, it will stay looking like that. And then you'll have weird spots that look different. When I'm doing an ombre, I usually do my top color and then I do my bottom color and I leave a little bit of gap, and you'll see why. It's not a huge gap though, maybe like a ½ inch or less. And just make sure you get all the wet spots. That's very important. Okay, now whenever I do the middle, so I do the top color, do the bottom color, and then for this gap right here for the ombre, what I do is I take a little bit of both colors and I mix it in this cup and I put it right there to help blend. I do not take credit for this idea. I got it off of a video on YouTube, but it really works. It really helps blend the ombre look. And I only mix a little bit at a time, so I usually have to pick it back up and do it a few times. See, and it really blends those two colors together really well. And once you're done with that, I let mine spin for like 30 minutes and then I let it sit and dry for about 2 hours. And then I will seal the glitter. Okay, so once you seal your cup, you're ready to epoxy it once it dries. And what I used to seal it was just this Rust-Oleum crystal clear. Just coated it really well. It prevents the glitter from shifting and mixing up when you're adding your epoxy. You just let that dry for 30 minutes to an hour. Make sure you can touch it and it's dry. And then you're ready to put your first layer of epoxy. And then I use the amazing clear cast. I use equal parts of A and B. Okay, and when you mix your epoxy, you have to make sure that you do equal parts of A and B, because if you don't do equal parts, then it will never fully cure and it will always feel tacky to the touch. So what I do is I have these syringes that I got. They're just for medicine, and I mark them so that I know which one's for A and which one's for B, and then I just measure out my epoxy with that and then put it into this cup and then stir it up. And you have to stir it up really well. Make sure you scrape the sides and scrape the bottom so that you get it fully mixed up really well. And then once you get that, you're ready to put it on your cup. And you should really wear gloves but I don't really like wearing gloves because I can't feel it very well. Some people have really bad reactions to epoxy though, so just be careful, and I would recommend wearing gloves. So you just pour it on there and then smooth it out. You can also use a silicone brush or a foam paint brush, whatever you're comfortable with putting the epoxy on with. I like to use my finger because then I'm able to feel where I have gotten it and where there is still glitter that hasn't been covered, because it feels a lot different. Okay, once you get your entire cup coated, make sure you don't forget your bottom. Go all the way up to the edges if you've chosen to do that. If you've taped off, then just go to the tape and just make sure it's all smooth. And then once you're happy with the way it feels, you'll leave it alone and let it sit here and spin for a minimum of 4 hours. But you need to let it dry before you try to decal it, at least 12 to 24 hours. I usually wait at least 24 hours. You want it to be completely dry to the touch, because if you try to put a decal on it when it's still slightly tacky, you're going to pull all the epoxy and stuff off with your transfer tape. So now we're just going to leave this here and let it spin. Okay, after your cup is fully cured, you're going to want to sand it down and make sure it's nice and smooth before you put your decal on. Okay, and once you sand it and get it all smooth, you're ready for your decal. Make sure you wipe it down and get all the dust from sanding it, and then you'll be ready to put your decal. So what I like to do when it's a simple decal like this is I just use regular painter's tape. And I just put it on there where I can still see the top of it. And it sticks perfectly to there. And I just place the decal down and push it down really well. You don't want that to happen. Smooth it out, and then you've got your decal. And then I actually logo the bottoms of my cups, and I make it myself with printable vinyl from Cricut. I just do 1.5 inch circles with my logo, and then you're ready to put another layer of epoxy on it. Now when I get to this point, I need to say that I usually take a picture of it and send it to my customer if it's an order, to make sure that they approve of the decal and the way it looks before you put your layer of epoxy on, so that if they want to change anything, you won't have to strip it. You can make changes to it because it's not permanent yet. And then I will put my layer of epoxy on. Okay, so once your epoxy has completely cured and it's all smooth, When you're ready to go, you have to clean it up and get it ready for the customer. So that's what we're gonna do now. So what I do to clean up the rim, because you get like a little bit of epoxy right there, and then you can see inside that there's some spray paint. That's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna clean that up. So you just take your X-Acto knife and you just put it along there, and it gets the epoxy right off. And you just want to do that all the way around the cup. Okay, once you've gotten all of the epoxy off, now we're going to clean up the spray paint that's inside. And how I do it is I use just pure acetone. I just get a big thing like that because you'll use a lot of it. On a paper towel, and then you just wipe on the inside, and you can see that it's just taking it right off. Once you get it completely clean, then you're going to wash it with soap and water. Okay, once you get the rim clean and you get all the inside paint cleaned off, wash it with soap and water, dry it with a paper towel, and then you're ready to package it and get it ready to deliver to your customer. So this is the way I do it. Lots of people do it different ways. You can do it really however you want. Some choose to just hand it over to the customer just like this. I choose to package mine up. So you can make boxes. There's files you can purchase to make a box. I've made those before. Or you can get gift bags. What I use is these bread bags. You can get them at Walmart or you can order them on Amazon. And then I use tissue paper. I know this is a Christmas gift, so I'm using red and green. If not, if I don't know, or if it's not around Christmas time, then I usually try to choose a color tissue paper that coordinates with the cup. But since I do know that this is a Christmas gift, I'm going to use red and green. And I just put the tissue paper in the bottom of the bag, and then I put the cup in there, and I crunch the tissue paper so that it's not, you know, it looks okay on the bottom, but it's not like fully covering the cup. And squeeze all the air out. And then I take either like the string for balloons or twine, whichever one works. And I just tie a bow around it, and then it's ready for your customer.